All right, hello everybody, and welcome to the second episode of the Checkdown. I'm Bobby Melendez, joined always by Russ Morgan. Dave Stager, who will usually be with us, is actually watching Moana 2, so hopefully it's good. He wanted to be here with us, but totally forgot that he was supposed to go to a movie with his kids. Absolutely understandable. Go enjoy your movie. I've heard Moana is great, so hopefully he enjoys it. But that's cool. More for me and Russ to talk about. A lot to talk about. A lot of football action. Yesterday, last night, today, you had the Chiefs versus the Raiders today. Very close game. Looked like the Raiders were about to pull it off. And then, of course, the Chiefs get away with a win after a miss snap fumble. Before we get into that, though, let's say hello to Russ Morgan. Russ, brother, how the hell are you?
Hey, Bobby, thanks for having me today. Doing great. Just trying to not get angry. I work right now. I work at a lot of right now my job. I do pick up groceries. So I'm at the grocery store a lot, and I wanted to hit a lot of people today because people are effing stupid. So I was getting angry at I was like, I'm not a violent guy, but I'm like, don't put your cart in the middle and stand in the middle of the aisle. If you're gonna look at something, like, move your stuff. So today was pretty frustrating, but we've calmed down, watched some football, had a beer, ready to talk some more football with here. Glad to be on as always.
Absolutely, man. You kind of sound like Hulk for a second. Like, I don't want to get angry. You wouldn't like me if I'm angry. Like, oh, okay. Yeah. No, I get it. And I want to just give a full disclosure warning for those who are tuning in. We thank you all for tuning in. For those who are tuning in right now, wherever you're watching, family, the kids, the wife, they're making brownies right now. The wife has the 3-year-old, the 7-year-old, and 12-year-old. And of course, it's a little loud out there right outside my studio door here at Ralphie Boy Studios. And so, full disclosure, if you hear that noise, let's give them some grace out there. But let's first start off with the first game, at least the game today. It was the Las Vegas Raiders taking on the 10-1 Kansas City Chiefs. Kansas City now, of course, 11-1 after that today's game. Raiders now at 2-10 on the season. Like most divisional games, you look at this game before and you go, I could understand people saying this is going to be a blowout. There's no way. But this is a divisional game. And it doesn't surprise me, not for one bit, that it was as close as it was. The Raiders, it ended with it was 19-17, 19 Chiefs, Raiders 17. Aiden O'Connell threw for 340 yards and 2 touchdowns with a passer rating of 116.4, with, of course, his counterpart and maybe the best quarterback in football right now, Pat Mahomes, throwing 306 for a touchdown. The Raiders looked like they were getting there. They looked like they were gonna pull this off. And I mean, my goodness, you couldn't look away from the TV. And then, of course, as Aiden O'Connell's about to call a hike, there goes his center, snapping it, and it rules Chiefs ball. And that essentially it ends the game. So it's a crappy way to end the game. It really is. What could have been one of the best upsets of the week. What did you think? Fred, I'm a shout out to the Miss Finns. I appreciate Miss Finns tuning in, guys. Again, friend of the network. Great channel too. Go if you love Miami Dolphins, go check out Miss Finns. Like and subscribe to her as well. Cat for Life is here, 72 undefeated in here as well. 24-3. Tua gets trash stats against the prevent. Second and goal on the one. Tua chokes that one away too. Obviously, 72 undefeated. Not happy with Tua Tagovailoa, and we will talk about that game. Plenty to talk about. Before we get let's talk Raiders Chiefs. Your thoughts on that game, sir?
Well, I can't remember his specific name. I want to say it was I did the one draft draft preview with this guy. Was it Josh?
Josh Kimmel or Wingate? Josh Wingate.
Josh Wingate was on with us, and he was one of the, obviously I was just guessing, and I remember, and I was watching the end of the game, and I hear Al and Kirk, they're like, oh, Jackson Powers Johnson snapped it early. And then I remember it goes ding, ding, ding. He was just foaming at the mouth with the amount of love he had for Jackson Powers Johnson. I was like, oh, this guy could lose the game for you. But I mean, as bad as the loss it was, I was presently pretty surprised with seeing the Raiders playing. They're 2-9. You kind of think maybe they're phoning it in. They weren't really phoning it in. Aiden O'Connell's what got that broken thumb. So I mean, you go for what 340 with the broken thumb. So that's pretty good. I thought the run game was good with McCormick from UTSA.
Yeah.
I didn't really get too much love. I mean, you get 116. It's one of the worst rushing attacks in football. And also, I was like, well, the refs just find a way to keep the Chiefs in the W coming. For me, it's just like this has to come to an end. They've won so many of these close games, and I mean, they played two good teams, Baltimore at the beginning of the year and Buffalo. It has to come to an end where it's like, hey, this match has got to come to an end where we miraculously find a way to win, and that happened when they played Buffalo. But I mean, I think the Raiders, even though it's bad right now, you see a little glimpses. Defense is looking a little better. You got Brock Bowers, who's looking like he could be a superstar in the league. So I mean, yeah, they're 2-9. I see some upsides for the Raiders on that front. I mean, you get a big hit with Brock Bowers this year, and I don't know with the Chiefs. Honestly, I'm like, I think they're going to finally hit a wall and see a team that's more athletically can take care of those mistakes.
Yeah, I'll say this, man, very quick on the Chiefs, and then we'll get into yesterday's games. But Kansas City doesn't look like they are, like you're saying, they're going to hit a wall. They're going to get, I don't know. Maybe they're a different team. Obviously, they are when it comes to the playoffs, but they could get shocked the playoffs if they face a team early on that could, actually come away with some points in those type of situations and limit those mistakes. Where the Raiders, obviously, they don't have a lot to look forward to. They're going to have an early draft pick. Do they go with a new coach? What happens there? But my goodness, when you look at Aiden O'Connell and what he did against that Chiefs defense, and Sincere McCormick, and then you look at Brock Bowers, 10 receptions, 140 yards, a touchdown. That guy is going to be the tight end he's going to be the tight end that takes over when Travis Kelce steps down and George Kittle. He's that guy. He's that special. And it makes it more and more obvious as to why they were so quick to move on from Devontae Adams and not try to work that out, because they knew how special that kid was. And it's just crazy to see. We have Rob in the house of Dolphins Thirsty tuning in. He'll be on Wednesday with Russ to talk Red Sox baseball. Just shout out there. Jordan Murray there as well. Yeah, there you go. Go ahead and, so yeah, it was a crazy game. And again, the Chiefs, if you're a Chiefs fan, win's a win, but you probably don't feel really good about this win, because when it comes playoff time, that's not going to be pretty good for you.
I think with them, it's like, you played Baltimore right off the bat. I think Baltimore is going to slowly start figuring out their game plan is, hey, we're going to have
Baltimore, Denver,
Henry, and they still, they're more athletic and, but you're still going to have to beat Denver defensively strong, and Bo Nix is coming into it. You're still going to have to beat the Chargers, who Harbaugh always is going to play them tough. But, I mean, Baltimore, I think, will finally be like, hey, we're going to have to lead with Derrick Henry, and that's what they did on was it Monday night, I think. And, I mean, Buffalo is Buffalo. Even though I'm a Jets fan, I'll root for Buffalo. I'm that's the one team in the East I don't mind winning is Buffalo, just because they know my pain and suffering. I'm sorry. I hate the Dolphins. And you get it.
I hate the Jets, so we're good, man.
So it's fine. Like I grew up in Southern California, and everybody's like, you talk so much shit about my teams. I'm like, I hate your team. I'm like, dude, or like be like, I'm not rooting for your team here. I'm like, I don't care. You don't have to root for we don't have to all be like, I think we don't have to all have the same opinion. I don't care if you hate my team. I love my team. That's all that matters. You can hate them all you want. I don't need everybody to like the same team, but like
That's boring, man.
no, I think the Ravens are going to start figuring it out. You just got to lead with Derrick Henry and a little less Henry and Buffalo. I mean, Josh Allen. Even when I mean, they were wrote off this year. Everybody was saying Jets, Dolphins. Someone will get the division. Buffalo finds a way to get it done.
Yep. And so we'll get on. Let's move on. Let's talk about the game, the first game from yesterday, and may have been the best game on the docket. Again, another divisional game. Bears at Detroit. I thought this game was. I picked Detroit to win, but I thought this was going to be a close game. I said I wouldn't be surprised if Chicago upset the Lions. And lo and behold, it almost came down to that. And yeah, there you go. Rob says, I'm a Dolphins and Red Sox fan. Russ is a Jets, Yankees fan. We get along great. You see, you could get along with people who don't technically agree on your sports things. We got Fitzstanza in the house. There you go. Raphael as well. Great. Appreciate you all tuning in. Evan's going to love my Fins Talk Today title I just put out for the show tomorrow. But again, let me just say, this game was close. The Bears at Detroit. Chicago, I mean, Caleb played a great game. Bears were showing no quit. It looked like the Bears had an opportunity to tie it or win it. They were driving down the field. Time was running. I mean, if you couldn't think of a better scenario for an offensive team trying to find a way to win, 30 seconds left of the clock. I'm not a coach. Okay. They're hired to do that. It is it's not a rocket scientist. Call timeout. You got 30 seconds. Take another shot downfield or get closer. Spike the ball. Take a shot downfield. Try to win the game. Doesn't work. Okay. Take a shot down closer. Either get in the sideline or spike it. You got a few seconds left. Kick the field goal. Tie the game. Go into overtime. Oh my God! Wait a second. How did you go to school to be a coach? Are you no? I'm not. That's called rocket science. Armchair quarterback. Whatever you want to call it. I'm sitting there. I'm not a Bears fan by the slightest ease, whatever. I was pissed watching that finish. I couldn't believe I was my brother Fitzstanza watching McDaniel week in, week out. That's how I felt. I know how he feels now watching McDaniel's clock management, but Matt Eberflus. So they do this, dude. They go down. Time is running. I cannot believe what I'm seeing. Doesn't call the timeout. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Takes a shot, misses it. Game is over. Total awful clock management on full display. I told my son, as we're watching this, I said, this is why their record is what it is, and that is why this coach will be fired. What happened yesterday? He got fired. So Matt Eberflus, for those who don't know, and I actually did not know until a couple hours before showtime, he was actually fired today or yesterday, and he should have been, and he is. So, and Thomas Brown, their OC, is now the interim head coach, which I'm a big fan of Thomas Brown for his future. I hope that he shows enough that he gets an opportunity to kind of maybe get, set him up for the future, maybe a better opportunity, or maybe with Chicago. Either way, horrible luck for the Chicago Bears and horrible coaching. And hey, Matt Eberflus is fired and moves on. What are your thoughts on this football game? And do you think Matt Eberflus should have been let go?
Well, I was with you too. I was watching this game. I was like, it's over. I'm gonna go get my Thanksgiving meal and go. And then I'm like, oh, this is getting good. I thought the Lions, Lions had so many opportunities just to put that game away, and it could have been a terrible game. And Bears find a way to stick around. Caleb had a solid second half, turned it on. I was watching that. I'm like, all right, well, get him in the line and spike it. Get on the line. You guys still got one timeout. Call the timeout. Like, what are we doing? Why are we just like, let's go, guys, let's go? It just kind of goes back to the point is the Bears just found a way to be the Bears. And hey, both times we bring in this new coach with Justin Fields. We bring in a new coach, fire him right off the bat. And instead of doing the right process and bringing in Caleb Williams, or hiring a new coach and then bringing in Caleb Williams and pairing them together, we keep the guy who, just shipped off Justin Fields and kind of ruined it for him there. I don't know why they kept him this year. So I was like, you're doing it, 11 weeks too late. So, but I was like, watching it, I'm like, why are we just like, go to the line? Let's get them. Just call the timeout. You got a rookie QB. Call the timeout. Let him get composed. Talk to him. Short. Throw it sidelines. Throw it to the sidelines. Get out of bounds, and we'll set up to a field goal to tie it up.
Oh, dude, it was just, and again, and Miss Finn says she was the same way. I mean, I'm just a fan. First off, obviously not a fan of the Bears as a team, but you want the underdog to win. That's fun, in football. And I'm a football fan. And in the end, I mean, it's like, oh my gosh, you're gonna do this. They got this in hand. This rookie quarterback, the number 1 pick overall, is about to lead his team to beat one of the best teams in the NFL, the Lions, which is kind of crazy to say nowadays. Compared to what they were just, a decade ago and even 5 years ago. And their coach cost them the game. And I understand, even their quarterback should have called timeout. We don't know what his limitations are in regards of his coaching staff, but that coach and every coach on that staff should have said, yo, we need to call a timeout. They didn't do it. So it cost them the win. Maybe they didn't want to win. Maybe they had some kind of thing, but obviously the ownership thought he should be fired and they did their job. Evan says the Bears are lucky. I know why he says it.
I mean, but it kind of goes back to like that, like lack of discipline where, when they lost to the Redskins and the guys over there, taunting the crowd when you still have time on the clock and you lose the game because that guy's taunting the crowd. He gets over there late and tips it up. So I'm like, maybe he just had, lack of discipline on his team and he's just, he deserved to be fired. I don't know if the OC is the right call just because I'm like, you put this guy in the OC, the interim offensive coordinator. Caleb's looked good for the last 3 weeks, and now you're going to move him to the interim head coach. Is that going to take away from Caleb Williams' growth? Because now he's got to focus on the whole team, not just the offense.
You would hope as a head coach he would be focusing on the whole team. That's I agree with you. That could take away from that.
But that's you're going. Your future is so much on this guy. You want it's. We'll see what happens. The great thing for Chicago, I guess, obviously this is a new GM. He's on his first or second year. I think his second year, right? Yeah. He's on his second year and he gets to hire his coach. He already drafted his quarterback. He has a 5-week, I think, audition for Thomas Brown. And you're right. This will show how much this takes away from Caleb. Obviously he's still the head coach. He gets to still work with his quarterback. But does he say, you know what? No, let me go ahead and delegate this task to this guy now to be the new OC? Does he continue to call plays? Because he just got that role, I think he wasn't calling plays. I think he just got the chance to start calling plays in the last few weeks ago, and now he has that opportunity. So we'll see how this impacts the Bears. Obviously now they got a 5-week head start on the coaching search, with the Jets and the Giants. Giants eventually. Sorry, Giants still have their coach. Thomas Brown is not Adam Gase. I'm sure that I wonder. I would love to know what he means by that, but I think I know where he's going there. But Thomas Brown, I think, is a good coach. I think he has a good future in this league. I just have a feeling about him. Okay, battle of the backups: Cowboys versus the Giants. I'm gonna go full disclosure here. I said it on Sports Nation with Stager. I think we talked about this, Russ, you and I. This was the game that you could go, unless you're a Giants and a Cowboys fan. Go watch, go do something else, go play catch with your kids, go eat your turkey, go do something. This wasn't going to be a game to watch, to battle the backups. 27-20 Cowboys win. I think Drew Lock started for the Giants. Full disclosure, I did not watch this game. I went with my own advice. And so, yeah, just very quick, man. Did anything from this game surprise you? Did this make you feel confident? People are saying that the Bears, with the Cowboys win, they still have a slight chance to make the playoffs. Should they want to make the playoffs? I full disclosure, just like you, I went out and had dinner, got my dinner at that time. I was like, I watched like on and off. I'm like, whatever, I'm home, I'll turn it on. And I'm like, this is so boring. I don't know if like Michael, he's like, hey, we still got a shot. I'm like, yeah, this is the game that's going to get you all hyped to beat the worst team in football with Drew Lock. I was watching a little. I was checking a little because I got CD Lamb on my fantasy team. So I was like, oh, you suck. But besides that, I was and it wasn't as big as this week. Last week was big because I was going up against my boy Joe from Touchdown in Paradise. So some good shit talk. But I was with you too. I was like, I'm like, I'm gonna go get my dinner. I'm gonna, maybe I'll do some cleaning when I get home. Watch some basketball or something because this is not must watch TV.
No, not at all. And in seeing how it finished, I wasn't surprised, nor was I moved by it. If anybody in the comments who saw the game want to share their thoughts, maybe me and Russ missed a good game. Maybe it was better than we thought it was. But I'm just giving you full disclosure. And I don't think, Cowboys winning, I don't think moves the needle. So Josh Wingate, if you're watching, I know you're a Cowboys fan. Maybe you could tell us we're wrong and then that this was a good game and maybe they do have an opportunity, still a chance. Again, just do this the chores here. You're watching the Checkdown on FTSN. Episode 2 with Bobby Melendez and Russ Morgan. Dave Stager couldn't join us tonight. He was planning on being here. We talked about it yesterday, talked about it the day before. However, he forgot he was going to Moana 2 with the children. So he is enjoying a movie. I said, dude, go for it. It's Moana, The Rock. This is Moana, man. Go do it. Go see some Maui. We'll see you next week. So he'll be joining back with us. So we got almost close to 90 people watching right now here on FTSN, watching the Checkdown. Wherever you're watching, we appreciate you tuning in. If you're anywhere other than YouTube, come over to YouTube, hit that like and subscribe button. We got some people in the comments. You got Dolphins Thirsty, Fid Stanza, Raphael, Miss Fins, 72 Undefeated, Chris Jones. Everyone who's tuning in, we appreciate you watching. Cap, Jordan as well. Going to move on now to a game I watched for sure. I know the majority of us in the comments did watch this game. We had a lot to talk about it yesterday. Dolphins go into this game winning 3 straight. It is the narratives of this game was Miami can't win in the cold. Miami can't beat good teams. Miami can't win on prime time. Tua said before during the week, our goal, they're basically paraphrasing now, kill the narrative. We're going to kill the narratives. I'm looking forward to it. Miami couldn't kill the narrative. They couldn't beat it at Lambeau Field. They lost 30-17, falling to 5-7 on the season. It was a bad loss. It was a deflating loss. One thing I had told Stager, Russ, was that, a lot of people were going to pick the Packers to win this football game. You look at the schedule, you look at the record, you look at it all, and you go, all the scenarios kind of went in Green Bay's favor. The only thing you would hope for was that Miami would put up a fight. And I'm speaking as a Dolphins fan. For me, it wasn't a fight. I mean, again, after there was the first drive. I don't know how much of it you did get to see. But at that first defensive stand by the Dolphins, the Packers got the ball first. Miami came out, and it was a great defensive drive by Miami. I felt confident. It gave me hope. I went, holy crap, this is going to be a game. Miami's defense is going to show up, and, at least that part of it. Green Bay punts the ball. Miami muffs the punt. Malik Washington muffs the punt. Fumble recovered in the red zone by Green Bay. Did a quick 7 points. At that point, at least for me, game was over. Game was over. It was total deflation. Can't open the door. My youngest now is open the door. So anyway, Grady barred the door. It was a tough game. All around just very quick to his numbers, and the finish the game at least was 37-46, 365, 2 touchdowns, no picks, with 114 quarterback rating, with Jordan Love, his counterpart in the draft and in this game, 274, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Raheem Mostert only rushed for 19 yards on 5 carries. Josh Jacobs, 19-43 with a touchdown. Jonnu was the leading receiver with 10 receptions, 113 yards. Tyreek right behind him. And then you had Tucker Kraft, the tight end for the Packers, leading 6 of 78. Miami's defense, even though it had a good first drive, it was a break and a bend and break defense yesterday. Nothing to write home about. Miami's offense just could not score over 20 points after scoring 34 in the last 2 weeks. Trash numbers on trash time, as 72 undefeated has said. It's true. Statistical numbers don't matter. I know a lot of people are throwing out those stats. Oh, but look at the numbers. Look at the numbers. Look at them. Numbers don't matter when the column and when you look at your win-loss column and it's an L. Doesn't mean a god dang thing, dude. And you could beat the bad teams. You could sit there and we're gonna kill the narratives and we're doing this and we're doing that. Man, leave that to the fans, bro. Just do your job. And they didn't do their job, and now they're 5-7, and you have fans like Dahl of Dahl's Diary saying blow it up. Fitzdanza is counting down the days of McDaniel. He wants it over, and many Dolphin fans, a lot of them too, and 72 undefeated, waiting for Tua to be moved. A lot of fans are frustrated, and I get it. Again, a team that should have been 7-3, 8-3 at this point, whatever you want to call it. We're 5-7. There was a lot of hype on this team, a lot of draft capital, money, everything there, and they come up this way against a good football team. This is the games you're supposed to show up. And Miami didn't even put up a fight. If they would have lost and they put up a fight, we could have been like, hey, you know what? Yeah, mathematically, we still have a shot. But they couldn't even do that. They didn't show any type of fight. They didn't kill any narrative. I don't care what the numbers say. It's still an L. And if you can't even put up a fight against the Packers in these elements, as Evan has brought up, post-game after post-game after post-game, it doesn't matter if you made a run and make the playoffs. Yeah, mathematically, you're still alive. But guess what? It doesn't matter, because if you can't win in these elements against these type of teams, what makes you think you're going to beat a Chiefs or a Buffalo or whomever in these type of, Pittsburgh in these elements against those type of teams? You can't. Miami doesn't have it. And that's why then the title for my show tomorrow is, and it's full spoiler, and if you guys want to talk about it, you can. Tua is not the problem with this football team right now. It's not the solution, but he's absolutely not the problem. It's Coach McDaniel. So that's just me speaking as a Dolphins fan. But Russ, man, I haven't heard from you. You got obviously you're a Jets fan, but I know you'll provide an unbiased opinion just over this football game, man. Packers over Miami. What the hell happened, dude?
I like the Packers this year. I think they're, Jordan Love's coming in his own. I think they're back into they signed Josh Jacobs, and that's what they want to do. Is we're a Midwest team. And we're gonna lean on that run game even. So I'm not surprised. NFC North is looking insane this year, and we got Sam Darnold there in Minnesota. So, but and you say kill the narrative. Like, the narrative I always thought with Miami was, hey, you come to Miami, it's going to be hot as hell. We're going to sit you in the sun and have fun. Have fun sitting in that sun baking when it's 90 degrees and makes it feel like it's 104. So I just don't know I don't think Tua's arm's that strong. And then you take Tua and put him in 28 and it feels like 22. Can his ball cut through the cold like that? And then also it's like, you got Jalen Waddle, you got Tyreek Hill, Jonnu Smith, who's having a resurgent year. Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, I'm like, why are we checking the ball down to these guys? Like, okay, checkdowns are fine. And a lot of that yards are him from dinking and dunking. I'm like, you got Tyreek Hill is one of the fastest player in the NFL. Like, you want to see him take the top off of it sometimes. And I don't see that offense doing it. And maybe that comes down to his arms not strong enough, and especially cutting through that cold weather. But I mean, at the end of the day, like, you've seen it. I think they got a good team. I think Tua's a good quarterback, but when you're going up, you can't just base it off, hey, you're going to come down and play at Hard Rock Stadium in Miami. Like, you're going to have to go play Kansas City in November. You're going to have to play Buffalo in November. I mean, you're going to have to play Buffalo 2 times a year. You're going to have to go up to New York, which isn't as cold as Buffalo. So I just don't know if his arm is that strong. And then he goes through, goes up to Green Bay, which is, 25. can he cut through that weather?
No, absolutely. And again, I'm seeing the comments here. A Cat for life. I extended part of the FTSN family. I consider him too. I consider everyone in the comments there who show up week in, week out. But Cap says, that Joe Rose is talking to there's Josh Wingate, that Joe Rose is saying that he's hearing that Greer and McDaniel and I mean the front office basically is going to come back. I know most fans would not want that. Especially if Miami does hit the nail in the coffin and get eliminated from the playoffs because of what this team should have been or could have been. I mean, there was a lot of hype on this football team, and wait a second, well, the quarterback was injured, Tua was hurt. Well, again, to me, that's not an excuse because the fact of the matter is Mike McDaniel, Chris Greer said we were good with Skylar Thompson and Tim Boyle or Mike White and Snoop and all this whatnot. They weren't. That was malpractice at the highest order. If they were a doctor and they would be fired. They would be disbarred, whatever you want to call it, cut out of the damn will. They went into the season with that. So to me, the quarterback injury is not an excuse because you went in there with two terrible backups and went in there when other teams like the Colts and so forth go in there, sign all these backups, and then you got the Pittsburgh Steelers still winning games. You have, so forth, whatever team does it. It's crazy. It was a malpractice. So I could understand the frustrations of fans. I could understand fans and anybody really who doesn't take that as an excuse. It shouldn't be an excuse because this team should be way better than what they are, and they're not.
I want to know when all these people are saying blow it up, get rid of Tua. Who is their idea? Who are they bringing in to replace Tua? Are you going in the draft? Are you going in free agency? Who's better than him in the draft? I want anybody out there who's the quarterback in the draft, which you won't get because all those quarterbacks are going top 10, or a quarterback in free agency. You think who's better than Tua? Who's better than? And Bobby, if you got an answer, throw it out because I watch a lot of college football, and I'm going to tell you, as great as these guys look in college, and maybe like they pan out, they're not gonna. They're probably the same with Tua as big as Shador is. His hype is.
If Mike McDaniel's still the head coach going into next season, no one's going to be better than Tua as your quarterback because Mike McDaniel cannot coach a quarterback other than Tua. That's what he has shown. Because when you had Skylar Thompson 3 years and he regresses, great to see you, Rob. We'll see you on Wednesday, brother. When he regresses the way he does, and then you have these other guys come in and they don't do it, there's no one better at that point. Now, that's why your best bet would be cleaning house, and that starts with GM, head coach, and let them decide what's best for this football team in regards of your quarterback situation and whatever. There is no one right now, if he remains your head coach, better than Tua at this point. That's just what it is. Now, you and I have discussed it past. First off, full disclosure, Russ Morgan is the co-host for Touchdown in Paradise College Football Podcast, so that's why he's asked the question, who's better than Tua right now? If people are saying go get another quarterback, who would you get?
Because I see there's 3 names.
Tua is not the problem. That's what I said. Last night he wasn't the issue, and he's not the problem with this football team. It's not Tua. He's not the solution, obviously, because when you put up the at the end of the day, you look at you go, but they didn't win. It doesn't matter what your stats are if the team is not winning. So he's not the problem. The team is the problem. And in sense, the coach, when a former player of yours, Deshaun Elliott, says that you are soft, your team is soft, and some of the teammates got mad, Dolphin players got mad at Deshaun Elliott, former safety from Miami. But then your own linebacker, Jordan Brooks, comes in, who came from Seattle. He comes in and he says, we played soft. We were soft. We're a soft team. That speaks volumes for your locker room and for your football team. That's terrible. That's right. Quarterback might not be the problem, but he sure as hell not the solution. I get it.
I just don't know. I mean, like, the three top quarterbacks. Shador's got his things. Cam Ward, as great as he has been this year, he's a guy who came from Division two school. And then you got Jalen Milroe, who's athletic as hell, but he's also got his issues that we've seen. And then you can get like Quinn Ewers or Carson Becks who have issues too. I don't know if anybody's better than Tua. Going to give you, an opportunity as Tua is unless you want to tear it all down, start over, and you can be like the Jets and suck for the next 2 years.
Well, the Jets, they didn't start over. They just signed Aaron Rodgers, and now they're starting over.
They're going to start over 2 years later.
Nobody wants to follow that formula, But Christopher Jones says, all right, let's change the question. If McDaniel and Greer are gone, who are the viable replacements? It matters. It's 100%. It does matter because whoever you bring in, then who's going to be the lead? Then you got to go with the guy on the field. Who's your coach on the field, which is essentially your quarterback on offense, and that's what's going to matter. So, and for me, Chris, again, until it happens, we'll get more into it. But for me, for head coach, I'm all for Mike Vrabel. That's my go-to guy right now. If it was to go down, I'm a Vrabel guy. That's who I'm leading the charge with. Or, again, a former head coach or a former head coach and or a former player. You look at the DeMarco Ryans of the world and then these other guys who come in, Vrabel as well, who come in and they know how it is to in the locker room and all that. That's huge for me. So, and again, I understand, Russ, your point of view, again, if you draft a guy, let's say you get, somehow, some way, Miami gets rid of Tua, you draft a guy, if McDaniel's still the coach, what makes you think that McDaniel is going to do right by that guy? So, I don't know. Anyway, Mike keeps getting fired wherever he's at. Ward has major upside if you draft him. 305 Sports now. I will say, man, for me, at first, I was like, Ward is special in college. This was at first, at the beginning of the season, I was like, I don't know how I see him as a pro. But as the season has gone on, I could see where he could be successful as a pro quarterback if put in the right system. I will say that. But anyway, Russ's point. It's just but for the Packers win a game that they were supposed to win. They did right by them. They continue their season. Who do they have next here? They're at 9-3 on the season. They got a tough division, dude. Detroit 11-1 now. Minnesota's 9-2. They just signed Daniel Jones as their backup. And then Green Bay at 9-3 are the third team in the NFC North. They got the Lions coming up next week on December 5th. Man, that is going to be a game to watch. I heard the same conversation when we said we don't need a backup quarterback. All I heard was, who else is better out there than no. First off, Cap, this. And it's undefeated knows this. And, because the conversation always with Dolphin fans is, Tua. And I was saying all offseason was we're worried about a quarterback who's not going to leave because of who the coach is. We're not worried about the most important position in the quarterback room, which is QB2. We needed to go that QB2. And, you look at Sam Darnold and Flacco and Mariota. You got Tannehill out there. You got all these backups or these potential backups, and they didn't do a damn thing. And then look what happened.
You had the backup. You know who I'm talking about. You let him go. That's Mike effing White.
Get the hell out of here with that, man.
Mike White.
Trash.
No, don't slander Mike White.
That dude came in last year. Evan brought it up yesterday. We were watching that game with Carolina, and Miami was winning the game. I said, all right, Mike, get in there, too. Come on off the sideline. Go take a break.
Put him in here.
Intercepted. They're like, there it is, a Jets quarterback. What the hell are we doing here, Miami? Hell, we're signing these quarterbacks.
He comes in there. He stays in there with broken ribs. The team gets around him.
Man, yeah. Anyway, that's a Jets fan for you. They don't know. It's okay. It's all right. Let's get this moving. Let's talk week 13 predictions. We got obviously 4 games are down. Handful. Yes, he would have. No, I would say as a backup, yeah. But again, I will say I get what you're saying, 72 undefeated. I saw your comment, brother. But again, it's a team issue, man. And I'm not telling you you're wrong. I'm just saying that it's a team thing, man. And it starts with the head coach, and then essentially, of course, the GM. All right, let's move on. Again, running through the games, you have the Detroit Lions winning 23-20 against the Bears. Dallas is now 4-7 after beating the Giants 27-20. Miami falls to Green Bay. Green Bay now 8-3 after beating Miami 30-17. Miami's now 5-7 on the season. Kansas City beat the Raiders by a hair, 19-17, now 11-1 on the year. Raiders fall to 2-10. Now we move on to, let's go ahead, and it is the 7-3 Los Angeles Chargers against the 6-5 Atlanta Falcons in Atlanta. I have the Chargers winning this game. Again, defense is big here. I think defense and Justin Herbert go 8-3 on the season. Russ, how do you see this game playing out?
I'm with you. I do love that Chargers defense. I think Harbaugh's kind of got them going. It's going to come down to me, is Dobbins going to play? Because he went out that Sunday night game. I think he's been big this year. I do love that defense and what Harbaugh's doing. I think Herbert's having a great year. I do have the Chargers winning. So, to keep it short and sweet, I'm going Chargers. But I do want to see what happens if Dobbins is going to be on the field Sunday.
Yeah, no, 100%. That is a big key right there, depending on what's going to happen with J.K. Dobbins, the running back for the Chargers. And then you get a AFC North matchup. This is going to be a fun game. It's a divisional game. You got the Pittsburgh Steelers at 8-3, traveling to Cincinnati to take on the 4-7 Cincinnati Bengals. I actually have the Bengals winning this game. It's going to be a close one. It's going to be a fight. But I got Cincinnati coming out on top. Do you think Pittsburgh could come out 9-3 after this one?
I don't want to keep on agreeing with you, Bobby, but I'm with the Bengals too. I think this team is so talented that's just hit, just done like one or two things wrong. They could easily be 8-3 right now, easily. I mean, they had a tough opening slate, but I'm with you too. I think the Bengals are just kind of sitting there waiting, and once everything clicks, watch out. If they can get hot, that offense is electric. Defense, plays good enough, but I think they're just kind of sitting, waiting in the wings there that people are going to write them off. So I do have the Bengals.
There you go. And then we got the 6-5 Arizona Cardinals traveling to Minnesota, take on the 9-2 Minnesota Vikings. Vikings are projected to win by 89%. Picking them, I'm going to go with that 89%, make it 90. I'm going Minnesota over Arizona.
Yeah, I think I don't like to always agree, but I'm with you. I think that's still. I think they offensively. Who's their coach again? O'Connell's kind of figured out Sam Darnold's game that we're not going to let him take over. Dink and dunk, hit it over the top with Jefferson. Brian Flores is the defense looking, not as good as they were at the beginning of the year, but still very serviceable. So I think Arizona might have we starting to see a little more of what the real Arizona is. A lot better than what they were predicted. That's for sure. But I think we'll finally start losing a couple games here.
There you go. I got the Indianapolis Colts at 5-7, traveling to New England to take on the 3-9 Patriots. This doesn't look like it's going to be a fun game, and for NFL fans, maybe for just the team fans there, but it could go really any way. Really, I mean, just to be real, I mean, Drake May is coming on. He struggled, I think, a little bit last week, but he's coming on. But I'm going to roll with the Colts on this one. I think the Colts win. They'll go 6-7 on the season, and the Patriots will fall to 3-10.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I do agree with you. I think Drake May's starting to figure some stuff out. He did, last week had a decent week. Still 222, one pick, but and he's got some nice legs too. So I think they found something, which pains me because I don't want the Patriots to find anything. And I know you're with me on that too.
100%.
But I just think the Colts probably just a little too much to handle. I think they found the right coach. which goes into what you said earlier, a former player who's going to be able to keep these guys in check, which is I'm with you too. I want Mike Vrabel. He's not coming to the Jets. Why would anybody want to come to the Jets right now? But I want that because he's the guy. He's like, hey, if you're not disciplined or doing it my way, I'm going to punch you in the mouth. And I think Gerard Mayo's kind of the same thing, 100 times different than Belichick, but I do like being unbiased. We got a former player. These guys are going to respect him. So unfortunately, the Patriots, I think, have started to figure something out. But I do think the Colts just have too much and they'll win.
Yeah, no, and going on talking about the Jets, let's get to the Jets. You got the Jets at 3-8. The Seattle Seahawks will go into New York to visit the Meadowlands and play the Jets. I think Aaron Rodgers is still starting, right, at this point in time. I know the rumor is that he will eventually sit out. But this, to me, and this is your baby here at this point, but I will say, to me right now, I think this is the nail in the coffin for the New York Football Jets in regards of Aaron Rodgers. I think this could be the last game he plays as the starter for the New York Jets. I think the Seattle Seahawks will win this game. They'll go to 7-5. Jets will fall to 3-9, and then eventually that's where you got that Tyrod Taylor coming in and starting. And of course, he'll end up starting possibly against Miami going into next week's game. What say you, man?
You're looking at it both ways. You're like, I want a good draft pick because I want a good player. I don't need a quarterback, honestly. I think the Jets always their problem is we're going to draft this high quarterback and just throw him into a bad situation. I'm like, I'm coming at both ends. I'm like, dude, I want a nice top 10 draft pick. Give me an offensive lineman, not the sexy pick, but the right pick. But then I'm like, dude, I can't physically root for my team to lose. So I think they win. I think hopefully they figure it out. But I mean, I think I'm with you. I think Aaron Rodgers has been done ever since that Woody Johnson report after they lost to Denver that he wanted to bench him. And I was kind of with him too. I'm like, the offensive line's been much better than last year, which isn't saying much. But still, if you watch a Jets game, Rodgers is still under duress a lot. Give me a guy who can move around, and Rodgers can't move after that Achilles anymore. So I think this might be, if they do lose, which the defense hasn't looked that great since Robert Saleh has left, and that's probably going into like what I said with the Bears. That might be the same circumstance with what the Jets did, is moving their defensive coordinator to interim head coach, and he's taken away from the defense because the defense was like their staple. The reason the Jets were everybody's saying, Super Bowl contender, the very good chance to win the East is it wasn't because, it was like that offense looking much better with Rodgers. It's what we saw, but it was like, this is a top 3 defense. The defense has not looked the same since the D coordinator has been, Ulbrich has been the interim and Saul has been fired. And that's, the bad part, so I think I'm going to go with the Jets win because I'm a diehard Jets fan. Am I 100% confident with that? No, because, I mean, I've been saying the Jets should – I went and I'm like, hey, they should be, 11-6 when I saw the schedule. And I was like, all right, the first half until the bye is going to be tough. We got some really tough games. But after the bye, that's the easy part of the schedule. So I have no clue where I'm going with this Jets. I'm going to say win because I'm a Jets fan. I want to see them win, but
I got you. Russ Cap here in the comments says, are you hearing what he's hearing? That Woody Johnson wanting Brian Flores as head coach. Are you hearing that at all?
I haven't heard that. There's 2 names I want. And the number 1 name's Mike Vrabel. He won't come to the Jets because it's just too much. The other name is give me sexy Rexy. Give me Rex Ryan. Run it back. I take Rex Ryan. Run it back. He wants to be there. That's the thing. He's a Jet. He wants to be there. So, fine. I'll take a guy who wants to be there. I know it didn't work out after a couple years in New York, but he wants to be there because they're not getting Vrabel. Vrabel's not going to want to come into that situation.
Brian Flores makes a lot of sense for Flores because of, first off, where the team is at right now. We know how talented the Jets really are on paper. And if you go in there and Aaron Rodgers leaves and you got that, Sauce Gardner, Garrett Wilson, you got these Brees Hall, those are the key young pieces. And then you go in there with no quarterback, and it's basically your show to run at that point with basically maybe new GM, a fresh GM, that gives you an opportunity to go ahead and get your guy, whomever that guy may be at quarterback. We know the rumors and the reports that Flores wanted Jordan Love over Tua. First it was Herbert, and then we heard it was Jordan Love. So Flores makes a lot of sense, and it makes sense for Flores because Flores goes, "Hey, I'm going to go just. I guess what? I get to face the Dolphins for 2 games in a year every season, and he's going to want to stick it to Miami. So makes a lot of sense." I did not hear the Rex Ryan. That's the first time I'm hearing about Rex Ryan.
Rex has been all over ESPN. He came on. He's like, he literally was like, "Hey, I want." And my dad, Buddy Ryan's his dad. He goes, he was part of that Super Bowl, the only Super Bowl he won. He goes, I grew up, I'm a Jets fan. No one knows the Jets like me. I want to run it back. And like you're talking, like, I love Mark Sanchez. And I think he gets too much shit because of one, excuse my language, fucking play. Ooh, the guy took us to the 2 AFC championship games. And he wasn't we ruined Mark Sanchez more than anything else with trying to make him what he was not, which was never going to be a superstar, top 10 quarterback, and then bringing Tim Tebow in who just, New York media ruins you. But, I mean, on that same point, our defense was phenomenal. Rex is a defensive coach, and you lead with the defense. You punch him in the mouth, and then you go, let's get an effing snack.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, I know. Jets. No, they haven't hired Tannenbaum.
No, they hired
he's a consultant for the GM job.
Like the 33rd.
Him and Rick Spielman, 2 former Dolphins. Well, Rick Spielman is the former GM for the Dolphins, and Tannenbaum. No, was he the GM?
He was the GM after he got fired with the Jets.
That's right. He did become GM, and then Greer was promoted. Greer worked right under him, and Greer was promoted to GM after Tannenbaum left.
I could see who's the owner of the Dolphins?
Stephen Ross.
Yeah, who that whole thing. Now that's a whole other thing. Is Brian Flores gonna get a head coaching job with everything that happened and that is the whole other. I don't know if he still has the lawsuit with the NFL going on.
It does, I think. Yeah, I think it's still going at this point.
So that will be a whole other thing. I mean, I don't see why not. He wasn't bad with Miami.
No. No, it was the whole situation off the field, and of course his relationship with Tua was obviously not great. Again, is he deserving of a second chance? I think he's earned that right. I think he will get a second opportunity, and I think he would relish that opportunity and play the best he can be. I'll be honest with you. I think it's I would not want him to be the coach of the Jets. I would not be interested in that. And obviously I'm not a Jets fan, so that tells you why I may not want that. Because I think it would be better for them because of the second chance he would get. But either way, we'll wait and see. I'm sure we'll hear soon enough what the Jets might be targeting after at least they hire a general manager. Anyway, Tennessee Titans 3-8 taking on the Washington Commanders. I think this is even though Tennessee's been showing some fight, they're 3-8. They do show fight. They have no chance. I think Commanders pull this one out pretty easily.
Yeah, there is no chance. I mean, the Commanders lost a couple games. They haven't looked that great recently, but yeah, the Titans, no chance in hell.
Here's another no chance game. You got the Houston Texans taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jaguars are 2-9. You just saw one coach get fired, Matt Eberflus. Is Doug Peterson the next one to go? We'll wait and see. But the Houston Texans, I think, win this game. Might be a close just because it's a divisional game. It is in Jacksonville, but Texans win this one, no doubt.
Yeah, same with you, Bobby.
There you go. You got the 5-5 Los Angeles Rams taking on the New Orleans Saints. Saints are 4-7. Rams are 5-5. I'm rolling with the Rams.
Yeah, I'm wanting Rams too. I like Sean McVay a lot. I think, I like Sean. I think which it was surprising because it was last year where, everybody's writing the Rams off and they still find a way to make the playoffs. This year, it's like, Stafford's old. They still find a way to win.
Yep. 100%, man. That's that, and it starts with. It tells you it starts with McVay. I mean, what the identity he's given that football team. I mean, you lose Aaron Donald. That's what's crazy. You lose Aaron, and of course, you got to give credit to GM as well. You lose Aaron Donald, and then you go get Braden Fisk and Jared Verse, and those guys are doing what they're doing up there. And even though they're only 5-5 on the season, it's still a very good 5-5 football team. Miami beat them, but that's why it's like good for Miami because they beat a good team. But the Rams are in the thick of it. They're in their division. They're still there. That no team wants to seem to get taking control of that division. So they could get their way into the playoffs. Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 5-6 take on the 3-8 Carolina Panthers. This could be an upset, even though we're talking about a 5-6 football team against a 3-8. But I'm going to roll with the Buccaneers. I think the Buccaneers win this game, even though I think the Carolina Panthers, at least Bryce Young, is starting to kind of figure it out to be somewhat a successful quarterback. I'm rooting for him because I feel for him. How do you think this game will play out?
Yeah, I think the Bucs will win this game. I think another full week of Mike Evans being back. I'm with you. Bryce Young is starting to look better, but I'm gonna roll with the Bucs.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we got the Philadelphia Eagles. This is going to be a game. The Philadelphia Eagles taking on the Baltimore Ravens. Ravens are 7-4, Eagles 8-2. This is a tough one, and this is in Baltimore. And it's just it's really who you trust more in regards to making this pick. And I don't know if I'm comfortable. I mean, the majority of people are picking Baltimore to win this, 57% over 43. But I am not comfortable picking Baltimore. Obviously, Lamar Jackson is what we think he is. He's special. We know that. It's still the Baltimore Ravens. They are one of the most physical, tough teams in football. They got to learn, get the Eric Henry the ball, But I don't know if they could beat this Eagles team. The Eagles defensively are on another level right now. I'm rolling with Philadelphia to win in Baltimore. How do you see this matchup going?
I'm kind of with you.
Okay.
But I really dislike the Eagles.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah,
I get it.
I do think in Baltimore is going to play a factor. I could see it going either way. I think hopefully I'm thinking what we saw last week is we're going to have to lead with Derrick Henry. As great as Lamar is with his what he does improvising, Derrick Henry's the guy. Like, hey, he'll get it down to 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4. You take that in a heartbeat. I'm going to go with Baltimore. I think Baltimore is in the position to be in the Super Bowl. They're a good enough team. I think their defense would keep them out of the Super Bowl, which is surprising when you're talking about the Baltimore Ravens.
I know. I'm with you. Yeah, it is. It's crazy to say that.
I mean, I think this is an amazing game because we could have two guys going up for the MVP that aren't quarterbacks, which is Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley.
That's the way it should be. It shouldn't be just a quarterback award. You're going to get me going. I agree with you 1,000%. Saquon Barkley and Derrick Henry should be 1 and 2. And yes, you got to give Josh Allen some credit. Lamar Jackson, he should be in that conversation. But those two guys, what they've been able to do with their teams after leaving their former teams, kind of that, they haven't had a resurgence because they've always been great. But to do what they're doing right now, especially Saquon Barkley. And I love Derrick Henry. I'm a Derrick Henry guy. But Saquon Barkley, what he's been doing in Philly has been crazy. So I'm with you 1,000%. It really ticks me off when I see these MVP odds and all I see are quarterbacks. That's disgusting. That ain't right. So hopefully this is one of the years where, it goes to a non-QB. And it should be one of those two guys. Absolutely. Moving on, the San Francisco 49ers. Do we know if Brock Purdy's playing? Is he back yet? Or we don't know yet?
I have not heard anything about that.
I haven't heard it either. I don't think it really will matter.
I'm gonna go right off the bat. I'm going Bills. So.
Yeah, I'm going Buffalo in this. Buffalo will go 10-2.
And they're supposed to get like 2 to 3 inches of snow too.
And again, as much as I'm banging the table for Saquon Barkley and Derrick Henry MVP, one of the if Saquon number one, obviously. Josh Allen is I mean, what he's been able to do and what he's done this season. People were saying, "Oh, Buffalo's going to drop off. Oh, Josh Allen is going to drop off." They traded Stephon Diggs. Stephon Diggs is in Houston, whatever he's doing. You don't really hear his name as much, but you got Josh Allen, lighting it up and just doing MVP caliber things. So he should definitely be in that conversation. As much as I know you and I hate to say it, as you being a Jet fan, me being a Dolphin fan, Josh Allen, dude, and the Buffalo Bills are a legit football team right now. They're going to go 10-2. It's just a matter of time. They'll beat the Niners. I
mean, I see the bad thing because I'm like, hey, the Bills are probably the only team that can get that home field advantage over Kansas City. And I'm like, looking at it, I'm like, you still got to play the Jets. You still got, which no matter what's going to be tough, division game. Jets
100%. 100%.
You still got to play the Rams. You still got to play the Lions. So I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh, okay, we won't have to go to Kansas City in January. But I'm like, Kansas City, like 3 games, maybe, like, Broncos, Chiefs, Broncos, Chargers, Texans. I'm like, they're not going to lose all 3 of those games. I'm seeing the Bills. I'm like, those are going to be 3 or 4 tough games.
No, absolutely, 100%. Moving on, we got the Monday Night Football game. That was Sunday night. This is Monday night. You got the Cleveland Browns at 3-8. They had obviously a fun win last week. It was, Jameis Winston in the snow. Really great game, fun game to watch. They pull off an upset in Cincinnati. But now they go and take on the Denver Broncos. Bo Nix is in the conversation for Rookie of the Year, having a great season for a rookie quarterback. The Broncos are 7-5. Their defense is really good as well. I'm going to roll the Broncos on this one. I don't think Cleveland could pull it off twice.
Yeah, I don't think Cleveland can do it again. Broncos, that Sean Payton, when they brought in Russell Wilson and then Sean Payton, they're like, oh, why are they benching him? I'm like, yeah, it's not his guy. And now we're seeing Sean Payton's guy, and that's Bo Nix, and seeing what he can do. And that defense was Vance Joseph is solid. So Cleveland doesn't have it. I mean, great win last week, but they can't beat the Broncos this week.
No, I'm with you. I'm with you 100%. So that about wraps it up for this week's week 13 predictions. Man, we got about 101 people watching right now, which is really cool. Appreciate everybody watching wherever you're watching.
Don't get me started. Like I saw that comment right there.
What happened?
From Chris Jones about Pennington and Favre.
Yeah.
And I bit my tongue because I was gonna lose it. And then I bit my tongue. I'm like, no, we're talking about something else today, Bobby.
That's all right.
Yeah.
That's all right, man. I mean, we'll be talking plenty of that. Again, this is the Checkdown. We're about an hour in. We usually like to keep this about 30 to 45 minutes, but we went an hour, and that's pretty damn good. That's fine.
We're talking football.
Hey, man, I'm down, dude. You know me. I don't have no issue with that. Dude, I've gone for 2 hours. I've gone for 3. Really just depends on what the topics are. But I really thank everybody. Bring it. I really thank everybody for watching and participating. Russ, myself, Dave Stager will be here, and I will tune in Cap for SmackDown. I'm going to find out right now. For wrestling fans, as Cap is, and myself, guys, if you're into that, I'll be on tomorrow night with Josh Kimmel for No Holds Barred Wrestling. We're going to talk, of course, SmackDown, and of course, getting prepared for Survivor Series. Actually, Survivor Series, I believe, is tomorrow, so we'll be recapping that. I gotta get him on. I gotta catch up with Josh on that. But anyway, we're gonna have another great weekend of football, minus if you're a Dolphins fan or you're a Jets fan. But either way, for Stager, he's a Packers fan, so he's happy. He's smiling there watching Moana, singing that music and having fun. But we'll be back next week for the Checkdown on Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern time. We'll talk about all the big games, all the NFL hot topics. So if you're new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe. Hit the subscribe button. Whether you're new or not, do me a favor, hit that like button, okay? And share this with your friends and family. If they're a Bears fan, a Lions fan, Packers, Dolphins, whatever, Jets, share it. Say, hey, man, check out this show. Do us a favor. Support the channel in any way you can. I appreciate all of you guys. I'm excited about doing this show with Russ. Guys, if you love baseball, we just give a shout out here. If you love baseball, if you're a baseball fan, no matter what team that may be, whether it's like for me and the Marlins, we do have 2 championships, but it's sad. But whether you're a Marlins fan or you're a Yankees fan like Russ or a Red Sox fan like Rob, tune in to On Deck baseball podcast with Russ Morgan on Wednesday nights at 7:30 Eastern time. Russ brings the fire.
Hey, we do all baseball. I'm a
all
Dodger.
baseball. It's not a Yankees podcast. It's all baseball.
Did the Mets last week? Did the Marlins? We're doing the Red Sox. We talk baseball.
And he'll be getting some guest interviews to have Rob in there. But again, it's great content. Like seriously, if you are a baseball fan, you just want to, but you like talking the game and talking the ins and outs, check out the show, man. Russ brings it in. Russ, of course, is a co-host for the Touchdown of Paradise College Football podcast. And of course, like I said, the On Deck Baseball podcast. You can find me again tomorrow twice at noon Eastern. I will be live on Fitz Talk Today with Fish Tang Hank. We'll get his perspective on the Dolphins' loss against the Packers and what Miami does from here. And who's to blame? Is it Tua or is it McDaniel? And then tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern time, wrestling fans, tune in to No Holds Barred Wrestling with me and Josh Kimmel as we recap Survivor Series, because I'm pretty sure that's tomorrow. I'm a little mixed up, but I'm pretty sure that's tomorrow. Anyway, Russ, any final thoughts, brother?
Yeah, I'm ready. We got a great day of football tomorrow for Saturday and Sunday NFL. So that's all I got, Bobby. Just have a crack a beer, watch some football.
There you go.
College, NFL, whatever it is.
There's a lot of great games going on this weekend. So, guys, we appreciate you. Thank you for tuning in. Catch us next time on the Checkdown next Friday night, 8 p.m. Eastern. Me, Stager, and Russ. That's a wrap, guys. Appreciate you. Night. Go Canes. Canes will win. Go Canes. Peace.